Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis, in the county sheriff in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Sunday morning, April the 29th, 2018, time 3:59 a.m. First, say thank you to all my fans, my supporters, and you continue to encourage my support. I'll continue to keep myself employed right here in this Memphis tri-state area. I'll continue to further my education at Monroe College online. I'm pursuing my associate degree. I'm studying business administration with a concentration in marketing. At this present time, I've taken a break from going to school, but in the very near future, I will be going back to Monroe College online, and I will continue to further my education. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to do my Instagram, but I'm going to have to inform excuse me, that I was already up doing my video tonight, this morning. Had some technical difficulties because I had started doing my Instagram video at around 3 o'clock this morning, but I had some technical difficulties and I had to stop my YouTube video. I had to stop my Instagram video and had to discard both videos because I had some technical difficulties. And the technical difficulties, I'm not having technical difficulties anymore. So now I'm restarting my video. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do my Instagram. And after I do my Instagram, I'm going to do my Periscope. And then I'll tell all my Periscope listener viewers what took place. So what I'm doing now, I'm doing my Instagram again. Excuse me. Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis, in the county sheriff in the state of Tennessee. And today's date is early Sunday morning, April the 29th, 2018. Time is 4:01 a.m. I want to first say thank you to all my fans, my support, for your continued encouragement and support. And as it says, anti-gang. Now, as you know, those may not know who listen and watch. I was already doing my Instagram video, and because I was already up, ready to do my video, my YouTube video, and Instagram video, and then I was gonna do my Periscope video, but I had some technical difficulties, and had to discard my YouTube video, the Instagram video, because I had some technical difficulties. But right now, not having any technical difficulties, so I'm doing my Instagram video. I want to first always give thanks to God for all the blessings and the guidance that He provides us all with. And like I was saying on my Instagram video before I had to discard it, this nonsense with this gang point of view, I continue to speak out, complain, and it's gonna lead to anti-gang demonstrations, protests, and and make it clear that this stuff is not right, it's wrong. Now, these are a few websites you can go to. Make free logo designs, anti-gang logos. Now, the world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. Now, the world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. The world's oldest global environmental organization, International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN. And also, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, the IUCN. They are the ones who started the World Wildlife Fund. That's who started the World Wildlife Fund. And Fauna and Flora International, FFI, was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. Now, all those who are listening, watching my Instagram video, I also make, like I said, I make my YouTube video, Periscope video, Facebook Live video, and I would appreciate if you watch those videos as well. And I almost forgot. what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna do my Periscope video now. Hello everybody, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known by BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county of in the state of Tennessee. Today's date is early Sunday morning, April the 29th, 2018. Time 4:12 a.m. First thing, thanking all my friends, my support for your continued encouragement support. Anti-gang. Anti-gang. Now, that's what I have a list here. This is just a few of the websites you can go to. Just a few websites you can go to. Free logo design. Anti-gang logo. I had to inform everybody. I had to let everybody know that I was already doing my video. I had started my YouTube video around 3 o'clock. Around 3 because I've been up. I've been up tonight because when you drink iced tea, tea has caffeine in it. So I've been drinking iced tea early in the day, and caffeine got in my body, and well, I was up. eyes wide open, like a blind man. I can see, eyes wide open. I can see, but like I said, I was already up doing my video. I started my YouTube video around 3 o'clock. Around 3 o'clock. And after I did start my YouTube video, I was in the process of doing my Instagram video. And then I started having some technical difficulties. With it was really Comcast, but I had to discard both videos because I couldn't use them. I was having some technical difficulties with the Comcast, so I had to call Comcast and see exactly what was going on. And after I talked to the Comcast agent, brought it to my attention that it was like an outage in the area. Excuse me. And it wasn't nothing on my end. There was nothing wrong with our system, but it was like an outage in this area, and that's what it was. But after I got through talking to the agent on the phone about it, I was getting ready to go to bed. I was like, the agent told me if she was like, well, according to our information, the outage ain't gonna go out till like 6 or like 6:30 in the morning. So I'm sitting here, I might as well go on back to bed. I might as well go to bed, So I was standing here, and I was sitting there. About 10 minutes later, I looked at the computer. I had internet access, so I was like, man, I might as well go and do my video. So here I am, doing my video. But like I said, I was already up. I had caffeine, but I haven't been to sleep. I guess I still got caffeine in my system and drinking that tea. But like I say, this gang point of view stuff, serious. We don't take it lightly. It's a serious, very serious issue, and we're gonna continue to speak out, complain, because we're gonna build the momentum. See, we got to go through the process. We got to build the momentum, because see, a lot of people don't understand what we're talking about. Because see, everybody don't live in the same place. Everybody don't live in the same place. Everybody don't live in America. Everybody don't live in Canada. Everybody don't live in Mexico. Everybody don't live in a country where they have access to a computer. Everybody don't have access to education. So it's a process to build momentum. Around the world, because it really is an international issue. It's a crime issue, basically. First of all, that's what it is. It's crime. And then when you're being specific, what type of crime it is, it's a gang. We're not talking about gambling specifically. We're not talking about drugs. We're not talking about prostitution. But it's all in there. Gang is all in there. It's all involved. Polluting the environment. The gang involved in it. The gang. That's the whole concept of the gang is crime. They want to be involved in every aspect of crime. They want to have what that old saying. They want to have a hand in everything. They're with the criminals on the street. They want to have a hand in everything. Well, it's another old saying. You're going to lose that hand. And not just that hand, you're going to lose your life. See? You're going to end up getting killed. Because you're a criminal. You ain't nobody. You ain't nobody that people got to respect. You're a criminal. You're a criminal. And a lot of people, they been criminalized. They tried to criminalize me, tried to make me be, tried to intimidate, tried to force, me as well as others to support the criminals. It didn't work. Anti-gang. It didn't work. I'm not supporting no criminal. But we know we're gonna read the Bible and things, because there's some things that we we left off dealing with these man-made religious organizations. But see, there again, you have to be really, really careful with religion, because see, there again, the gang, the criminals, they'll be sitting right up in the house of worship. The criminals, they'll sit right up in if you let them, But like I say, we're gonna read the Bible, and then after we read the Bible, we're gonna go back into the anti-gang thing, because we're gonna build momentum, and in the very near future, that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a worldwide demonstration, protest, and I'm gonna tell you like this: it ain't gonna just end. It ain't gonna be no one day. It ain't gonna be no just no one day thing, and then everybody just disperse and go back to. No, from that point on, it's gonna be a continuous thing until you get rid of it. It's got to go. It's something that you have to make it clear that it's something that's not gonna be tolerated. It's zero tolerance for gangs, just like crime. Zero tolerance for crime. That's what it is. Cause I mean, if you get these people any room to breathe, they like roaches, man. You got to do whatever you got to do to get rid of them. Because if you don't, they'll just keep coming back. But see, you have to make it clear. You have to make it clear that it's zero tolerance for gang, just like crime, because it's a crime. You're a criminal. You're a criminal. Now, we're gonna go to the Bible and continue to expose Saul from Tarsus, because true. And also, on today's video, on my video I did last weekend, and I think the previous weekend, it had some little household products that be around there, because recycling and plastic bottles, plastic bags, and the thing about it is that it's criminals. See, we don't never lose sight of the basic thing about recycling is that it's a crime. It's some criminals who are doing things. And see, this is the thing about it. See, this is what we be talking about, is how the sorority and the fraternity, how the gang, they try to make everybody be a criminal. They try to make everybody be a criminal. You see how the recycling program is trying to make everybody not be a criminal? Do everybody understand that about the recycling? How they try to stop everybody. They try to stop everybody with the plastic bottles, with the plastic bags. Do everybody with the paper, with paper. And all the other, but see, that's really why I didn't want to use the product, because I want to go online. Because there's some websites And matter of fact, let me see. I can. Okay. Let me see how. Oh, I know what it was. Okay, let me see what was it. Okay, that's what it was. Okay, I want to make sure that's it. Okay, let me click here. Yeah, that's what it was. Now, going to other, going to websites and things is next. Okay, let me make sure. Let me see. Okay. Now we're gonna come back to this, but what was the name of this website? It's a website. It's a website. The name of this website is One Green Planet. One Green Planet. One Green. Now there are other websites. But what I was looking at is products that pollute the environment. Products that pollute the environment. And the number one. Now let me see here. Okay, this is an article. Like I said, the website you go to is One Green Planet, and it says your products that are killing the environment with better alternatives. Okay, now this is not the only website. Okay, now for example, number one, paper coffee cups. Number two, boxes of tea bags. Number three, plastic water bottles. Number four, disposable cutlery. That's like steak knives. Steak knives, butter knives. Any type of knife. That you butcher knife. Spoons, forks, stuff you throw away. And okay, that was number four. Number five, plastic bags. Okay, number six, produce bags. Number seven, disposable single-use razors. Okay. Number eight, menstrual products. Number eight. Number nine, disposable cleaning cloths. And number 10, food packaging. So those are, they're just, like I said, that's just one website. But the thing about it, and like I said, we're gonna come back to it. So, like I said, there's one website. Everybody go. Let us go to the Bible for a minute here, because that's important. Okay. And like I said, the man-made religious organization, for example, the Catholic Church, one of the oldest churches. Now, I mean, let's be clear with everybody. Now, look, we all got access to history books. We have access to encyclopedias. So we know the start date of the Catholic Church. We know the the various other Catholic organizations, churches, the Eastern Orthodox, they still Catholic because what they call the Nicene Creed, and the other and all the other Catholic affiliates around the world that are affiliated with the Catholic Church now. Man-made religious organizations around the world. They take scripture and they claim this, they claim this scripture, that scripture. The Church of Christ, the Church of England. Then you had all these Protestants, the Calvinists, the Lutherans, Episcopalians, Presbyterians, the Baptists and their breakaway church, the Church of God in Christ, and the Methodists, the Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventists, Amish, Mennonites. Then you have your cults, and then you have like Scientology and all this man-made stuff, all this man-made religious organization, and a lot of it based on what Saul. See, Saul wrote all them epistles, and they were all lies. Saul from Tarsus lied. He lied. And a lot of these religious organizations, the man-made religious organizations, and also while we talk about these man-made religious organizations, don't forget these groups. For example, the Moorish Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, the 5% Nation, the Black Hebrew Israelites, the Rastafarians, and any other group you can think of. Man-made religious organization, and they all do the same. They all use Saul. They all use Saul and them epistles that he wrote. All them epistles lied. One of the scriptures that they use, Romans chapter 16, verse 16. Salute one another with an holy kiss. The church with the suffix es. Churches of Christ salute you. Another scripture that the man-made religious organization use, 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 4, so that we ourselves glory in you in the church with the suffix is, churches of God, for your patience and faith and all your persecution and tribulation that ye endure. Now, when it comes to the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God, Matthew chapter 1, verses 18 through 25, Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 23, Luke chapter 1, verses 1 through 80, and Luke chapter 2, verses 1 through 52. The Lord's Supper, Matthew chapter 26, verses 26 through 29. Mark chapter 14, verses 22 through 25. Luke chapter 22, verses 15 through 22. The Lord's Prayer. Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 13. Luke chapter 11, verses 2 through 4. The Beatitudes. Matthew chapters 5, 6, and 7. And Luke chapter 6, verses 20 through 49. Now, when we come to John the Baptist, Matthew chapter 3, verses 1 through 17, emphasize verses 11 through 17. Mark chapter 1, verses 1 through 11, emphasize verses 7 through 11. Luke chapter 3, verses 1 through 22, emphasize verses 16 through 22. John chapter 1, verses 15 through 34, emphasize verses 26 through 34. Jesus teaching in the synagogue. Now, you know, when we talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, being in the synagogue, people in the synagogue, you know, even before he got to the synagogue, you know, he was being seen, he was being heard before, during, and after. So the description of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Okay, Matthew chapter 4, verse 23. Mark chapter 1, verse 21. Luke chapter 4, verse 15. And John chapter 6, verse 59. Now Jesus begins his ministry. Matthew chapter 4, verses 12 through 25. Emphasize verses 23 through 25. Mark chapter 1, verses 14 through 45. Emphasize verses 14, 39 through 45. Luke chapter 4, verses 14 through 44. Emphasize verses 15, 43, and 44. And John chapter 1, verses 35 through 51. Jesus chose 12 disciples. Matthew chapter 10, verses 1 through 42. Mark chapter 3, verses 13 through 35. Luke chapter 6, verses 13 through 49. And John chapter 6, verses 59 through 71. Jesus established a church. Matthew chapter 16, verses 13 through 19. Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 through 20. Jesus gives apostles commission. Matthew chapter 28, verses 16 through 20. Mark chapter 16, verses 14 through 20. Luke chapter 24, verses 44 through 49. And John chapter 21. And also the book of Acts chapter 1, verse 2. Now, the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Matthew chapter 26, verses 1 through 75. Matthew chapter 27, verses 1 through 66. Emphasize verse 50. A disciple of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God, Joseph of Arimathea, took his body down from the cross. And also verses 57 through 60. Matthew chapter 28, verses 1 through 20. Emphasize verses 16 through 20. Mark chapter 14, verses 1 through 72. Mark chapter 15, verses 1 through 47. Emphasize verse 37. A disciple of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God, Joseph of Arimathea, took his body down from the cross. And also verses 43 through 47. Mark chapter 16, verses 1 through 20. Emphasize verses 14 through 20. Luke chapter 22, verses 1 through 71. Luke chapter 23, verses 1 through 56. Emphasize verse 46. A disciple of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God, Joseph of Arimathea, took his body down from the cross. And also verses 50 through 56. Luke chapter 24, verses 1 through 53. Emphasize verses 44 through 53. John chapter 17, verses 1 through 26. John chapter 18, verses 1 through 40. John chapter 19, verses 1 through 42. Emphasize verse 30. A disciple of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Joseph of Arimathea took his body down from the cross. And also verses 38 through 42. John chapter 20, verses 1 through 31. And John chapter 21, verses 1 through 25. And Jesus gives his apostles commission. Matthew chapter 28, verses 16 through 20. Mark chapter 16, verses 14 through 20. Luke chapter 24, verses 44 through 49. And John chapter 21. And also the book of Acts chapter 1, verse 2. Now, when you read the Bible, the whole Old Testament, New Testament, you see disciple, a singular, disciple singular, and you see disciples, plural, more than one. Now, in the book of Acts, chapter 1, verse 15, chapter 6, verses 1, 2, and 7. Chapter 9, verses 1, 10, 19, 25, 26, 36, and 38. Chapter 11, verses 26 and 29. Chapter 13, verse 52. Chapter 14, verses 20, 22, and 28. Chapter 15, verse 10. Chapter 18, verses 23 and 27. Chapter 19, verses 1, 9, and 30. Chapter 20, verses 1, 7, and 30. Chapter 21, verses 4 and 16. Now, we continue to talk about how these man-made religious organizations, they read those epistles that Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul. Now, we're going to expose Saul. We're going to expose Saul. So, that we're going to continue to do. Now, we're going to go straight to Acts chapter 9. Let's go to Acts chapter 9. We're going to just go ahead and expose Saul. Acts chapter 9, starting at verse number 1. Now let me slow down. Let me start at Acts chapter 1 because we don't want the man-made religious organization to think go to Acts chapter 1, and we're gonna start from Acts chapter 1, verse number 1. Because the man-made religious organization, they'll be sitting around talking about when we already brought it up last week. We gonna touch back on the Church of Christ. The history of the Church of Christ is not the United States of America is older than the Church of Christ. See, it's a serious thing here. You sitting up here trying to tell everybody about Matthew chapter 16, verses 13 through 19. Jesus Christ, asked Simon Bar Jonah, who do men say that I am? And you know the story. Some say Elias, some say John the Baptist, some say Elijah and all. And who do you say that? And Simon Bar Jonah, who do you say I am? You are the Christ. Simon Bar Jonah, flesh and blood that revealed this to you, but my Father which is in heaven. You know the story. You know the scriptures. And upon this rock, I will be of my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Now, we don't know what the Church of Christ is saying all that for. Your history don't go past the history of the United States of America. There's no history of the Church of Christ. And being specific, what it means is that the doctrine, there's no history of any church that goes, and then when we go into the history books, the American Restoration Movement, see, the history of the Church of Christ you talking about, they go by the doctrine of the Church of Christ. There's no history past the United States. There's no history. So that when you be talking about the church being named the Church of Christ, and we don't find nowhere on this earth the Church of Christ. You don't find nowhere. The archaeologists been digging in the ground. They ain't found Atlantis, and they ain't find the Church of Christ. Yeah, just a little joke, just a little, just a little day, just a little. But anyway, okay. We're in Acts chapter 1. Now, we don't want the man-made religious organization to want to jack my collar. Okay. Now, we don't want none of the man-made religious organization. Okay. Now. Okay. We in the book of Acts, chapter 1. Now we know in Acts chapter 1, starting at the verse number 1, we know that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, the Son of God, has been crucified and resurrected, and He's being seen. But importantly, He's being seen by His disciples, His apostles. Being seen by His apostles. Now, it's important that we read the book of Acts, because some of the man-made religion, they be making these claims about Matthew chapter 16, about the Apostle Peter. They be making claims as part of their doctrine. The Catholic Church, being specific, they make claims about Matthew chapter 16 also, and about the Apostle Peter. But the problem, one of the biggest problems that we have here is that the doctrine that you claim, that was going to cause a lot of conflict. That was going to cause a lot of disputes. That's what's going to cause a lot of disagreements. It's going to be a lot. The reason why you look around the world today, then you hear all this stuff about the Protestants and denominational, non-denominational, because people somewhere along the way, people stopped agreeing with the Catholic Church. People started breaking away. The Catholic Church split. Eastern Orthodox, and all the other Catholic Church, people split. And what's the reason why they split? Doctrine. That's the reason why people break up, the doctrine. So we go to the book of Acts. We know in verses 1, it's basically Jesus, talking to His disciples. Verse number 2 gives the commission to His apostles. Then after Jesus Christ, spend time with the apostles. He's taken up in the cloud, received out of sight. Now, we know that the apostles, once Jesus Christ went back up and went into the cloud, the apostles went back to Jerusalem. So we're gonna start our reading. Not that I'm trying to negate the other script, but we know what the first chapter, Acts chapter 1, the verses 1 through 9 is Jesus being with the apostles. So we're going to start our reading at verse number 12. Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet, which is from Jerusalem, a Sabbath day's journey. And when they were come in, they went up into an upper room, whereby both Peter and James and John and Andrew, Philip and Thomas, Bartholomew and Matthew, James the son of Alphaeus, and Simon Zelotes, and Judas the brother of James. These all continued with one accord in prayer and supplication with the women, and Mary, the mother of Jesus, and with his brethren. And in those days Peter stood up in the midst of the disciples, and said, the number of names together were about 120. Men and brethren, the scripture must needs have been fulfilled, which the Holy Ghost by the mouth of David spake before concerning Judas, which was guide to them that took Jesus. For he was numbered with us, and had obtained part of this ministry. Now this man purchased a field with the reward of iniquity, and falling headlong, he burst asunder in the midst, and all his bowels gushed out. And it was known unto all the dwellers at Jerusalem, insomuch as that field is called in their proper tongue Aselame, that is to say, the field of blood. For it is written in the book of Psalms, let his habitation be desolate, and let no man dwell therein, and his bishopric let another take. Wherefore of these men which have company with us all the time that the Lord Jesus went in and out among us, beginning from the baptism of John to that same day they were taken up from us, must one be ordained to be a witness with us of his resurrection. And they appointed to Joseph, called Barsabas, who was surnamed Justus, and Matthias. And they prayed and said, Thou Lord, which knowest the heart of all men, shew whether of these two thou hast chosen, that he may take part of this mystery and apostleship, on which Judas by transgression fell, that he might go to his own place. And they gave forth their lots, and the lot fell upon Matthias, and he was numbered with the 11 apostles. So when we hear a first century church, like I said, people, these man-made religious organizations, they'll make claims. They'll make these claims. They'll claim that this church is the church, is the right church. But that phrase, the right church, is used by all the churches, because all the churches make that claim. They the right church. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna deal with this Saul, because all these different churches, including the Catholic Church, they read those epistles that Saul from Tarsus wrote. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna expose Saul. We're gonna expose Saul, because you're not supposed to be listening to Saul. So let's go right to it. Let's go to Acts chapter 9, starting verse number 1. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest and desired him letters to Damascus to the synagogue, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem. And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined around about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And he trembling and astonished said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? And the Lord said unto him, Arise, and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do. Now let me say this. The oral tradition, been passed down from one generation to the next. We're going to quickly turn to the Old Testament. To Genesis chapter 1. The Old Testament. Genesis chapter 1. Start reading at verse number 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the water. And God said, Let there be light. And there was light. See, when you see heaven, earth, light, God, it's been passed down from one generation to the next. The oral tradition. It's been passed down from the one generation to the next. Okay. Now we're going to pick back up on our reading. We'll be back in Acts chapter 9. Okay, it says verse number 7. Acts chapter 9, verse number 7. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. See, they heard a voice, but they didn't see no man. Now, you see, now it's a lot of there are many things in Acts chapter 9 that expose Saul. So what we're gonna do? Let's turn to Acts chapter 22. Turn to Acts chapter 22, and we're gonna start reading verse number 1. Men, brethren, and fathers, hear ye my defense, which I make now unto you. And when they heard that he spoke, that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence. And he said, I am verily a man which am a Jew, born in Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, yet brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel, and taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers. And he was zealous toward God, and ye all are this day. And I persecuted this way unto the death, binding and delivering into prison both men and women, as also the high priest doth bear me witness, and all the estate of the elders, from whom also I received letters unto the brethren, and went to Damascus to bring them which were there bound unto Jerusalem, for to be punished. Okay. And it came to pass that as I made my journey and was come nigh unto Damascus about noon, suddenly there shone from heaven a great light round about me. Verse number 7. Verse number 7. And I fell unto the ground and heard a voice saying unto me, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And I answered, Who art thou, Lord? And he said unto me, I am Jesus of Nazareth, whom thou persecutest. Verse number 9. Verse number 9. And they that were with me saw indeed the light. Let's turn back. Let's turn back to Acts chapter 9. Now it says in verse number 7. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. Acts chapter 9 didn't say anything about the men seeing no light. Acts chapter 9 didn't say anything about the men seeing the light. They saw him. See, this is what was being done. When the light shined around about him, he fell to the earth and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? So that's the thing about it. See, he be lying. See, it's so important to go back to Acts chapter 9 and read. Then turn back to Acts chapter 22. And then from Acts chapter 22, turn back to Acts chapter. He be lying. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, he be lying. Because he said, verse number 9, and they that were with me saw indeed the light. That's what he said. He said that they saw the light. When you turn back to Acts chapter 9, don't tell you. Verse number 7. Verse number 7. And the men which journeyed with him, they stood speechless, hearing a voice, but they ain't see no man. See, this is what they telling you. This is what's being told to you. While they was journeying with him, see, this was one of those all of a sudden moments. Something you ain't even expect from him. Not something that you expect from him, but this is what it means. They didn't expect nothing like that to happen from him. We on a journey together. We on a journey together. Then all of a sudden, he falls to the earth. He falls to the earth. And then somebody talking to him. But he started talking back. And the men, they don't know, they don't see nobody. They don't see nobody. They don't see anybody. It says in the scripture. And the men which journeyed with him, they stood speechless. They stood. They didn't fall to the earth like he did. They stood speechless. They heard a voice, but they ain't see no man. See, it's the lie. It's the lie that the man-made religious organization be telling. Now let's go back. Chapter 22. Chapter 22. Oh, I'm in the wrong. Yeah, there we go. I was on the wrong page. We're on Acts chapter 22. Acts chapter 22, verse number 9. And they that were with me saw indeed the light. You see that? They tell you that but this is what Saul's saying. This is what he's saying. And they that were with me saw indeed the light and were afraid, but they didn't hear no voice. They didn't hear no voice. But he didn't hear no voice. So Saul didn't hear the voice. Excuse me. But the men who were journeying with, they didn't hear no voice. That's what he said. That's what Saul said. He lied. Saul lied. He said that the men didn't hear no voice. They didn't hear no voice of him that spake to them. He lied. So let's turn to Acts chapter 26. Acts chapter 26. We're going to start reading at verse 13 and 14. At midday, O king, I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me, and them which journeyed with me. Let's turn back to Acts chapter 9. Acts chapter 9, verse number 3. And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus. And suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. See? You see the lie? You tell Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, he lied. He lied about being converted. He lied. So now we're over in Acts chapter 26. Starting at verse number 14. And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And I said, Who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. So we see Saul be lying. Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle, he be lying. He be lying. Now, Now, since we know that Saul from Tarsus, the self-proclaimed apostle Paul, be lying, First Peter chapter 4 verse 16. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf. The Apostle Peter didn't tell nobody. He didn't tell nobody. The Apostle Peter, he didn't tolerate it. Because all these man-made religious organizations they listen to Saul. That's what they listen to. They listen to Saul. But we see here that the Apostle Peter is making people aware that there are people, and then they're in dire straits. They're in financial trouble. And what they need to do, they need to just leave the man-made religious organization. And now, I'm over here. Now, like I said, First Peter. Well, okay, that's what I'm looking for. So we know Saul lied. So in First Peter, the Apostle Peter, like we said, let me see, First Peter. Yet if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf. See, this is the reason why the man-made religious organization be wrong. See, when you read those epistles that Saul wrote, you be putting Peter in the wrong position. You be putting the Apostle Peter in the wrong position. You be putting the apostle, you be putting this Saul from Tarsus, above, above the Apostle Peter. That's what you be doing, that's what the man-made religious organization be doing. when you be reading what Saul wrote and not exposing Saul, you be putting, Saul from Tarsus up here and be putting the Apostle Peter down here. That's what you be doing when you read those epistles, because all the stuff he wrote is lies. All the stuff he wrote lies. Now, 2 Peter. Second Peter chapter 3. 2 Peter chapter 3. Verses 15, 16, 17, 18. The Apostle Peter, he exposed Saul for writing all them epistles. See, this is the reason why the man-made religion ought to be wrong. Because 2 Peter chapter 3, the Apostle Peter exposes Saul for lying in those epistles. Verses 15, 16, 17, and 18. The Apostle Peter, the so-called self-proclaimed Apostle Paul, he be lying. And it's not just anybody that's saying it. It's the Apostle Peter that's saying that Saul lied. See, there again, this is the reason why the man-made religion was they be wrong. The Apostle Peter, he telling you that Saul from Tarsus lied. And what did you do? You sat there and read the epistles that Saul from Tarsus wrote anyway. You read his epistle and living your life according to what Saul said. Now, all that Christian stuff, and turn to Acts chapter 15. We're going to start reading verse number 1. And certain men which came down from Judea taught the brethren and said, except ye be circumcised after the manner of Moses, ye cannot be saved. When therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and disputation with them, they departed. Okay, it said they determined that Paul and Barnabas, a certain other of them, should go to Jerusalem unto the apostles and elders about this question. Acts chapter 11 verse 26. Now this is Acts chapter 15 verse 2. verse 2. It said, when therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small sin and disputation with them, they determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain other of them should go up to Jerusalem unto the apostles and elders about this question. Now, this is chapter 15, Acts chapter 15, verse 22. That's the end of this Christian stuff. So, it's chapter 15. So, like I say, when it comes to a man-made religious organization, you be doing something that's very, very wrong. You try to put the Apostle Peter under the Apostle Paul. But see, the man-made religious organization, they gonna have to admit that Saul from Tarsus lied. Now we continue to talk about African traditional religion. As you know, African traditional religion is being taught in institute higher learning college and university in Sub-Saharan Africa. You can earn a bachelor's, PhD studying African traditional religion. Now, one of the books we're going to continue to read and refer to is titled West African Traditional Religion, written by Dr. Joseph Omiseri Valelu, Dr. P. Adalumo Dupemo. Another book we're going to continue to read and refer to is titled African Traditional Religion and Definition, written by Dr. E. Baloja Adowu. Another book we're going to continue to read and refer to is titled African Religions and Philosophy, written by Dr. written by Dr. John S. M. Beaver. Another book we're going to continue to read and refer to is titled Concept of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S. M. Beaver. examples of schools in sub-Saharan Africa that teach African traditional religion. Dr. Joseph Obasede Ebeledu, PhD, Aberdeen, Senior Lecturer, African Traditional Religions, University of Aberdeen, Nigeria. Now, Dr. P. Adalumo Depemo, Aberdeen, Department of Religious Studies, University of Ireland. Another book we're going to continue to read refers to the title African Religion and Philosophy by Dr. John S. and B. Concepts of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S. M. B. Now, example of schools in sub-Saharan that teach African traditional religion. E. Baloja Adol, Professor of Religious Studies in the University of Aberdeen, Nigeria. Dr. Mbidi was born in Kenya, and he studied at Makerere University College in Uganda. Now, we continue to talk about this gang point of view. Oh, you know what? One more thing I want to make sure I don't forget. It's still on my mind. Is when we continue to expose Saul. This is another thing we want to expose Saul for, and also the religious, the man-made religious organization. When we expose Saul, that's who we expose. Now, we expose Saul about his travels, his so-called missionary work. He was lying. He was lying. Now, Saul from Tarsus, separate clan apostle. You know, he the apostles was in Jerusalem. The church was in Jerusalem. Church in Jerusalem with the apostles and the elders. Now, Saul left Israel, left the Israeli people, what Saul did, he started, leaving. He left Jerusalem. That's the reason why he left Jerusalem. He left Jerusalem. And the thing, the point that needs to be made is that Saul should have been exposed years ago. He should have been exposed years ago. And so when it comes to him going around, he was lying. He was lying. And the relationship between Saul and the apostle and Saul was not good. It wasn't good, it was bad. But this is a map, and it showed the Mediterranean. Now, this map is an Afro-Asiatic map, but it's still and so, like I said, Saul lied. He was lying. Now, the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, Title 9 of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970, the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, RICO Act, Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Act of 1974, established the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. Comprehensive anti-gang list, Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. And comprehensive gang model. Okay, the Bureau of Justice, Office of Justice Program, the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Justice Program, the Bureau of Justice Assistant, the U.S. Department of Justice, Comprehensive Gang, Anti-Gang Initiative, and Project Safe Neighborhoods. The United States Department of Justice, Office of Community Oriented Policing Service, Comprehensive Anti-Gang Initiative. The Office of Juvenile Justice and Legal Prevention, United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, Bureau of Justice Assistance, International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs, Gang Resistance Education Program, The United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention. October 2009 National Youth Gang Center, which have been funded by the Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention. Since 1995, merged with the Hollywood Gang Center, which has been funded by the Bureau of Justice since 2003. Gang Prevention Overview of Research Program, Mr. James C. Howell, the Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevention, the United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice, Office of Justice Program. Okay. Okay. The United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance. The National Gang Center Bulletin. I left one out. The United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistant Office of Juvenile Justice Links Prevent, National Gang Center Bulletin. Read the books in the bulletin and the title of the bulletin, History of Street Gangs in the United States, and also Wikipedia. You can find the same information, gangs in the United States. Now, the United States Department of Justice, Office of the United States Attorney Manual 1457, Criminal Street Gangs Statute, 18, United States Code 521, United States Department of Justice Federal Bureau, the FBI Federal Bureau Investigating National Gang Intelligence Center, the United States Department of Justice Organized Crime Gang Section, and other federal, state, and local agencies, United States Department of Justice Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice Anti-Gang Strategy, Prevention, Intervention, Assessment, and Suppression. Okay, let me repeat that. The anti-gang strategies are prevention, intervention, assessment, and suppression. The little cord be pulling. Okay. Let's see, where I'm at. Okay, United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Program, National Institute of Justice, the United States Department of Health and Human Services, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, National Center for Injury Prevention and Control, changing course, preventing gang membership, and also striving to reduce youth violence everywhere. And also United States Department of Justice, United States Department of Education, United States Department of Health and Human Services, United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, United States Department of Labor, and the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, National Forum on Youth Violence Prevention Forum. You go to youth.gov, you can be informed about the comprehensive anti-gang initiative, comprehensive gang model, as well as the National Forum on Youth Violence Prevention, and also United States Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, keeping kids out of gangs. Anti-hazing. You can go to lawyers.com and be informed about anti-hazing. the world's oldest human rights organization, Anti-Slavery International. And we're gonna go into the website as soon as we get through this, okay? Because there's some things that we want to go over, okay? The world's oldest international conservation organization, BirdLife International. The world's oldest global environmental organization, International Union for the Conservation of Nature, the IUCN. And as you know, the IUCN, they are the ones who started the World Wildlife Fund. Now, and also Fauna and Flora International, FFI, was the world's first international wildlife conservation organization. Now, the reason why we don't go some of these websites is for the reason being, we bringing up a lot of issues. And some people may not be from, like the sorority and fraternity. Some people because everybody don't live in America. First of all, everybody's not an American. Everybody don't live in the United States like I do. And everybody don't live in Canada, everybody don't live in Mexico, everybody don't live in Europe, everybody don't live in a developed country. Everybody don't live, right now there's a war going on in Syria. So the people in Syria, the little children, they in a refugee camp. There's a situation, all these, everybody don't live in the same place. Everybody's circumstances are not the same. Even here in the United States of America, everybody's not Donald Trump, for example, when it comes to being rich. Everybody's not a billionaire. I'm not Donald Trump. I don't have that type of money, But when it comes to the what we want to continue to stand on is anti-gang, and continue to speak out and complain about this nonsense, the crimes that people commit, the criminals, the gang members, the criminal street gangs, the sorority and the fraternity. See, when we was talking about the World Bank and the IMF, for example, is based here in the United States of America, here in Washington, D.C. And it was started here in America by some people in America. the sorority and the fraternity, they work for the World Bank, for the IMF. That's a serious thing. That's serious. That's very serious. Because the sorority and fraternity, not only do they work for the bank, for the World Bank, and for the IMF, International Monetary Fund, but they also work for, the people in law firm. They also work for other businesses, companies, corporations, and the crimes they commit, blue collar and white collar crime. So we shouldn't let this thing be some controversial issue that's not even supposed to be an issue. Anti-gang is going to expose the sorority and fraternity. Yeah, it's going to expose the sorority and fraternity. They're going to be exposed because when you get to the root of the crime, just like, for example, World Bank and IMF, and when you say there's a problem, like other countries all around the world, they say we have an issue, we have a problem with the World Bank, we have a problem with the IMF. People start investigating. They started to bury the person, whoever the person is, and that runs the World Bank, that runs the IMF. They're gonna do the background check on you, and they're gonna find out that he or she belonged to a sorority, belonged to a fraternity. Then they're gonna expose their sorority and fraternity, and they're gonna find all the rest of the people that belong to that same sorority and same fraternity. Let me sit up. They're going to be exposed. The sorority and fraternity, they're going to be exposed. Because they're going to find all the other people that belong to that same sorority and fraternity that the people at the World Bank and the IMF being investigated for committing some type of crime. See, it's a very serious thing. Very serious. Because whatever the problems they're having with the World Bank and the IMF, you know what you're going to find out? When they investigate their sorority and fraternity, they're having the same doggone problem. They're having the same problem. It's the people that's in their sorority and fraternity and the crimes they commit. And they go for the rest of the sorority and fraternity. And so, see, it's a serious, now it's serious. See, it's becoming clear to a lot of people. It's serious when we talk about the sorority and fraternity. Because they be committing crimes. They're criminals. And they need not only be exposed, they should not be tolerated in public or in private. It's wrong. You see, in the World Bank and the IMF, they're not the only one, thing that here in America having to deal with the United Nations and having to deal with all these other countries and things. But it's the sorority and the fraternity nationwide and the crimes to be committed. It's serious. Now, let me go back over that website one more time, because now, when we think about these products, like, for example, these 10 products that the sorority and fraternity work for these companies. Okay, like the paper coffee cups. The sorority and fraternity work for these companies. And when we be talking about stopping all this pollution, see, in boxes of tea bags, plastic water bottles, disposable cutlery, plastic bags, produce bags, disposable single-use razors, menstrual products, disposable cleaning cloths, and food packaging. And also, let me scroll back up here. Disposable cleaning cloths and food packaging. Okay. These products, when they talk about getting a patent, to produce all this, the United States government. And then another product came to mind. You know how women use makeup. This is the reason why the recycle thing is serious. It's serious. It's when you can't when you can't get away with committing a crime, and you got to recycle. That's a serious thing. That's serious. It's very serious. It really is. When you can't commit a crime, it's serious, man. Now let's go over here. The website we talking about now, this is not the only website. One Green Planet. All right, let me click away from here. Now let's go over here to the anti-slavery international website, because there's some. Now we over here on the anti-slavery international website. Now there's a lot of Okay. Now we'll scroll down. No. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, like I said, we on the Anti-Slavery International website, and I'm going through here. And, hold on, wait a minute. I'm thinking about the wrong thing. Yeah, I know what it was. I know it was. It was. I'm thinking on. No, we was on the Anti-Slavery International website, and I'm still over there. But it was something I was looking for, and I know what it was. Now it came to mind. It was a YouTube video. It was on the International Federation of Human Rights, but it was a YouTube video, and now it came to my mind. I didn't write it down, but I wrote the other ones down. So let me go over there. Yeah, like I say, sometimes it's good to write stuff down. And this is one of them occasions. This is one of those times I didn't write it down, but it was International Federation of Human Rights. It was something I seen that I see a lot of stuff, but go down here. what it really was, it was it was related to what we was talking about how we were talking about anti-gang, and when we talk about the wildlife, we talk about nature, we talk about human rights, and then we talk about anti-gang as if anti-gang is just limit, like it's just in a box, like it's just limited, just some little kids, being juvenile delinquents. But anti-gang is international. It's these international criminals, including the sorority and the fraternity. And what I was, and like I said, I was over there on Anti-Slavery International website, and a lot of the issues that they talking about, it's not just limited, because when you dig into the root of each one of those issues that we talking about, you know what you'll find out when you get to the root, when you dig in. Don't you know the sorority and fraternity is involved? Let me click back over here. Let me click back over here to Anti-Slavery International website. Okay, what do we do? Slavery today. Finna show you. It said, what is modern slavery? Forms of modern slavery: human trafficking, forced labor, bonded labor, child slavery, child and forced marriage, descent-based slavery. Now we talking about all this slavery. Now what is these people doing? Also domestic slavery, slavery in supply chains. You think the sorority and the fraternity not involved? All these corporations and businesses around the world, multinational companies, they are involved. The sorority and the fraternity, they work for these companies. Talking about domestic slavery, talking about somebody working for somebody. Domestic slavery. You think the sorority and fraternity don't have a maid, a butler? Talking about you trying to make all this money, and you got somebody working in your house. Domestic slavery. The slavery in supply chains. The sorority and fraternity work for these companies. Child and forced marriage. Descent-based slavery. Bonded labor. You think the sorority and fraternity not involved? Child slavery. Children going around doing work instead of going to school. They out there digging in the ground, trying to find resources and minerals in the ground like gold, silver, diamonds. Little children, instead of going to school. You think the sorority and fraternity ain't involved? You think about these corporations, Rolex, the jewelry store. Name all them jewelry stores. Name all these just start name of products, and then you'll think about all these corporations and businesses that the sorority and fraternity work for. And then human trafficking, forced labor. You think the sorority and fraternity ain't involved? Forced labor. And then when I looked over and seen a report talking about cotton over in Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan, you think the sorority and fraternity not involved in forced labor? Well, use your common sense. What they doing with the cotton over in Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan? What they doing with the cotton? Where is it going? Use your common sense. There are companies They are corporations. They are multinationals that the cotton, forced labor. Now let me click over here to globalization and human rights. That's what I was looking at. I forgot to write it down. But and this is the International Federation for Human Rights. This is their website. Now, one of the categories that they work with is globalization and human rights. And now there's a YouTube video, Respect of Human Rights, that I recommend everybody. We appreciate them providing the information and the YouTube video, and I hope everybody watch the video and enlighten themselves. And now one of the things that what I was looking at down here is business and human rights, and also human rights and environmental rights. Now let me click over here. In a minute, I ain't gonna be able to read this whole thing about business and human rights, but just some that a little part right here. The International Federation of Human Rights calls on states and economic actors to ensure the export of goods or services, investments, and development projects such as large-scale mining, infrastructure projects, or the sale of surveillance technology do not lead to human rights abuses and truly benefit local populations. The International Federation of Human Rights documents cases of corporate-related human rights violations, including through the use of a community-based human rights impact assessment methodology. Okay. Now let me click back. Let me click this other one here. Human rights and environmental rights. Now, the International Federation of Human Rights believes that human rights and environmental protection are interdependent. Now, let me read this. Over the past 10 years, the International Federation of Human Rights has worked to reaffirm the relevance of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in the current debate over climate change, toxic waste and energy. Environmental damages directly threaten the right to life, to health, to water, to development, to housing, to work, to culture, and the rights of indigenous people. Affected populations have the right to be protected from adverse environmental impacts such as polluted water, soil, and air, deforestation, and displacements that result from desertification or floods caused by climate change. Scroll down here. Okay, let me see. So see, that's the reason why it's so important to pay attention to the things that different organizations like the International Federation of Human Rights, and let me see what it says, over the past 10 years they've been trying to reaffirm the relevance of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in the current debate over climate change, toxic waste, and energy. So, it's very serious. And when we talk about the environment, see, this is when we talk about anti-gang. Anti-gang is important, because when you have to deal with these people, they're criminals. They're criminals. A lot of these businesses, and see in this report that I'm reading, they telling you about some of the things that these criminals have done. See, I ain't read everything. I didn't read everything, but I'm seeing some criminal activities, not just the polluting of the water or the air or the soil, but there's some other stuff. Murder that they make me when people speak out about the land, the air, the water, the companies being accused of committing murder. The companies being accused of committing murder and harassment. People who want to, this their land. For example, indigenous people on their land, then here comes some oil company or some agricultural company. They want to take the land. They want to kill people, and and when you investigate the company, you find out that the sorority and fraternity work for the company, and that's the white collar, but we don't want to leave the blue collar out. The criminal street gang, the non-management, the criminal street gang. Then the criminal street gang, they can go to college, and then later on they can join sorority and fraternity. So, like I said, that's the International Federation of Human Rights. That's the website that I'm on. Like I said, it's a YouTube video, and the title of the video, YouTube video. Let me click right here. Respect of human rights. In the context of globalization. Respect of human rights in the context of globalization. That's the title of the YouTube video. And then there's some other videos they have. Now let me go. Let me also yeah, okay, that's right. Now also Amnesty International. Let me click over that right quick. Scroll down. Okay. Go back over. Okay. Put that in. Okay, there it is. Okay, we're on Amnesty International website, and we are looking at corporate accountability. So when you you gotta look up corporate accountability, Amnesty International. Then click down and scroll down. Okay, that's what it is. Okay. Okay, and then when you go there, once you find corporate accountability, Amnesty, then you'll find a YouTube video. Human rights abuses in your shopping basket. That's one of them. Right. It's a very enlightening video titled Human Rights Abuses in Your Shopping Basket. Watch the YouTube video. And then there's another video, YouTube video, Fruits of Their Labor. You know, watch that video as well. And then watch this. About child labor. Amnesty International push for victims' rights at the OECD Minerals Forum, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and they trying to do something about child labor. See there again, when you find out about these companies and these businesses you're going to find out that the sorority and the fraternity be involved. Now, and then over here, let me go over here to Human Rights Watch. Now, okay, that's it. Okay, over there on Human Rights Watch. Go to business and corruption. Business and corruption on Human Rights Watch website, and watch the video. The forced labor used in Uzbekistan's cotton harvest. Watch the video, and then then watch also the hidden cost of jewelry. That's the very enlightening video. And then hidden chains. Over there, now the hidden cost of jewelry. That's by the children doing all this mining for gold, silver, and diamonds, and it talks about these companies that's mining diamonds and jewelry and things of this nature, and then the rights abuse in Thailand's fishing industry. Watch the video. And so what we're gonna do now, we're gonna go to the dictionary. But we really want to say thank you to Anti-Slavery International, Bird Life International, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, Wildlife, the World Wildlife Fund. I want to thank Fauna and Flora. I want to thank International Federation of Human Rights. I want to thank Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and just many people that are standing up for human rights. Now let's go to the dictionary. Now, you know that the suffixes, the prefix and the suffix, the root words, they in Webster's Third New International Dictionary and Oxford English Dictionary. They in there. Also, I don't want to forget these words. These words are important. Coercion, coerce, sexual coercion, psychological coercion, psychological manipulation, psychological abuse. Webster's Third New International Dictionary, the complete definition and meaning of the word gang: the act, manner, or means of going. Now, this is mobile. Is a mob. Now, this is sister, the stupid sorority, the stupid fraternity. This is sister. This is brother. Oxford English Dictionary, the complete definition and meaning of the word game. Action or mode of going, way, passive. Also a set of things and persons. This is mobile and mob. Now, the stupid sorority, the stupid fraternity. This is a sorority. Now these some website you can go to. They make logo design, free logo design. It's just free to make anti-gang logo. we get ready to end today's video. Again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also known by BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis, in the county sheriff in the state of Tennessee. And thank all my fans, my support, for your continued encouragement and support. I always put God first. And also, those websites, go to Anti-Slavery International, educate, inform yourself. Bird Life International. Slipped my mind. Bird Life International. That's what I was thinking about. Bird Life International. Go to the website. We've been talking about environment, polluting the environment, the soil, the air, the water. You know, everybody's important on the earth. All things are important. Go to the website, educate, inform yourself. The International Union Conservation Nature, and also fauna and flora. Go to the websites and educate and inform yourself. International Federation of Human Rights, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and I don't want to forget the World Wildlife Fund, because International Human Conservation Nation, they started the World Wildlife Fund, as well as all the other people that are trying to make this world a better place to live. So take care of yourself. Wish each and every one of you the very best, and